afternoon. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another segment. Today is January 23rd of Wise Gen Faith, Family, and Finance. Today we're going to look at tips on how to build generational wealth with a very interesting program that is out there. Many of you may have heard. Many of you have heard a lot of it from different sources. Many of you might have some skepticism about the program. We're just going to here to share you what we know and what we've learned, and we'd like to engage you in thinking about utilizing Index Universal Life as one of many tools out there to build generational wealth. But before we move on, I'd like to just get things ready. So why don't you say hi and talk to our audience?
Yes, good morning, good morning. And just like what Andrew said, I think that this is such a fitting subject for today because, as you know, we're heading into our Tết, right? Vietnamese Tết. And Vietnamese Tết, a lot of what we pray for is prosperity. Every family, culturally, we do that, and even in churches, the Lord, our God, is so rich, and He promises prosperity as well. One of the scriptures that I really like is the one in Malachi where he says, if you are faithful in your obedience in doing this, let's see how the windows of heavens will rain its blessings on you. And so I thought, we thought that it would be such a fitting topic that we can talk about for today. So in building generational wealth, as you hear, that's on the hopes, that's at the height of every one of every parents, I think. And because for me, a lot of times if I was working for myself, I would have given up already. But because I'm thinking of my kids, because I think of what I'm able to give to my kids, what our hard work today is going to pay off when we know that the people we love are going to be able to reap a lot of our results from it. It may not be monetary even. It may be just the blessings that they get from it. It may be just a peace of mind that they get from it. And but today we're actually going to be discussing the financial piece. So this is going to be monetary. The reason for that is because we're seeing more and more our society is more and more stressed over finance, don't you think? And
Yeah, I think I don't think the bills are getting any less and it's been encroaching in our lives and affecting how we choose our time.
yeah,
Back in the day, one income was sufficient. Now we have to have two incomes, and even that, one person's probably gonna have to do two jobs.
yeah,
And I was teaching about quality time this morning in the five love language, and how much time do we now have to spend with our loved ones, or even to pursue things that actually make us happy. And I know many of you are fortunate to work in a job that actually is a passion for you, but for many we work because that's the job that can give us
pace.
a pay that brings in the bacon, in other words.
Yeah.
And so the question that I pose is, why are you and I and everyone are still working? Surprisingly, in today's society, we are actually working into more golden years. That means we're working longer than we should. Instead of retiring at 50 or 55, it used to be Freedom 55. I remember growing up, there was an ad called Freedom 55. It's like getting to retirement at 55. But today, we are seeing that point being pushed all the way to 67, 68 now. And so that poses a question: is why are we extending that? Instead, shouldn't we be retiring early to enjoy the latter part of our lives?
While we still have the health to enjoy it.
That's right. So our health is deteriorating. We're not any more healthier. We may be living longer. I agree with you. Life expectancy is now gone longer than what we had in our grandparents' days.
Yeah.
But we're not living any healthier, but yet we're now having to work a lot longer in our lives. So, how do we find a solution for that? What do you think?
Well, like you said, mentioned earlier, there are quite a few different vehicles out there. It's just understanding about those vehicles and see if they work for you. A lot of people, they actually consider, how much can you save? I'm thinking, how much can you save? That's a huge factor, because after all of your expenses and all of your paying after our bills, fixed expenses, variable expenses, what do we have left to save? And how do we prioritize saving? Some people prioritize it before the expense. Other people spend first and then see whatever's left over, and then we're going to throw it in our savings, right? So that's a huge factor too.
One of the things that is you mentioned up savings, it catches up to everyone. I think everyone's at fault in this, and more so, even myself, we tend to want to look at earning, making money, but it's the important thing is what do we save at the end of the month.
You overlook
and a lot of we
piece.
overlook at the ability to save, and it's quite interesting because there's strategies on how to make more money. Like you could work this, or you could go to school to earn more, but not many places teaches you how to save. And part of that is America's society as a whole. The economic foundation of America is on capitalism. What that means, folks, is we have to spend. America's economy is based on people spending. We have to spend. If America doesn't spend, the economy stops. We see that in COVID, right? We see what happens in COVID. So with that, we are kind of like this hamster in a wheel. We just keep spinning day in, day out. And so what we make, we spend. What we make, in fact, now with credit card and all that, we are spending more than we even make. And so it puts a lot of people in a bind.
Strain.
So, but going back to the word wealth, I just want to help our audience understand something that I really understand here lately is wealth and being rich are two different things. Folks, being rich is how much money you have in the bank. But wealth is the ability for you, wealth is measured by how much time you can continue your same standard of living without having to work. That is wealth.
Wow.
Wealth is not measured by dollars, but by time.
Wow.
And when you think about this, we all want that, don't we? We all want to have time to do what we want. But the problem is we're not making money when we stop working.
Yeah.
So Warren Buffett has a very wise quote he always says, you got to be able to be doing something that can earn you money while you're sleeping. And folks, what are you doing today to get there? Right? What are you doing today to get there? Is your money growing for you while you're sleeping? Or are you in a business that is actually earning you money while you're not working in the business? So that's something I want to leave with you to think about. But today we want to talk about some tools, and my wife and I, by the grace of God, we're able to step out of our career to move into something else, not because we want to switch career. It's about learning something that we don't learn, what we don't know. And I think sometimes we grow up not knowing some of these tips. You think about it, engineers, we don't need to talk finance. We don't really know finance. If you're an engineer, or unless you're around business savvy or financial savvy people, you're not gonna learn these financial tips, right? I know as a teacher, you don't think about that. I mean, you get your basic understanding of don't overspend and all that, but there's so many powerful financial tips out there that we don't even know. And by the grace of God, He puts us into an industry totally new to us. But because we study and learn, and thank you for the IA program, there's, they actually take the time to teach this agent what financial tools are out there to help customers. And out of that, we see such amazing, powerful engine that is already out there, and we're not knowing about it. We're naive to it. So we just want to share with you today one of many programs that can actually build you generational wealth, can get you to that point where you're not retiring at 67, but really having the ability to retire a lot earlier. Because it's all about smart savings. It's about putting your money where the money is growing for you. Okay? So that's what I want to share and kind of preface our talk today. So I want to allow you to share with the audience here that's listening, our listeners, is what tools would you recommend that we have learned?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know
so-
what? It's pretty amazing because of course we're not tax people, and neither are we money financial whatchamacallit educators, just like what Andrew said. But I want to say that through researching and also through helping our clients to make their best financial decisions, I've come to learn quite a bit about different vehicles out there like 401k. A lot of us who are looking for what the purpose you were saying about retirement, 401k, traditional IRA, and also Roth IRA, and we put it against one of the vehicles that I'm falling in love with. For the reason is because I see so much value in it for me as a consumer. And so, just like how we get excited over, finding good deals, we want to share it to the world, right? But, and that program, I want to say it before because I'm so excited. It's called Index Universal Life.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of people have questions because of whatever experience you have in your background with insurance. This is a type of insurance policy. But when I put it against the other three different ones, let's talk about flexibility. Premium flexibility. Well, flexibility means you can put it in for as long as you want. You can put how much money you in for as much as you want. Of course, there's a lot of things that comes with it. Just to simply put, and to me, another flexibility is how you withdraw the money. So in 401k or Roth IRA and traditional RIA, I find that there are some guidelines, but especially 401k and traditional IRA, you cannot take it out before 60. And we don't know what,
There's penalties.
financial.
There's some penalties
Yes.
for early withdrawal.
Yes.
And I think there's
tax.
also a forced withdrawal. You
Yes.
can't keep it in there all the time.
Yeah. So at age like 72, 73, you have to withdraw because the government do want to tax you, because those are like 401k is money that's pre-taxed, right? So they want to tax you. But for me, IUL works just because I can put it in, and we don't know when life happens. And if life does happen, I'm able to access that money as soon as I can, as soon as I want to. But just understand that the longer I put it in there, I'm trying to build cash value. I'm trying to build my piggy bank, right? So the longer you put it in there, the more money, this wealth will grow for you. Another one I find is risks. 401k and other retirement accounts and stuff. I find that a lot of them are linked to actual market, like stock and other indexes, of course, and there's a wide market that you can choose with them, but they don't protect you from downturns. And so if the market hits with the negatives,
I want to emphasize the word that you said, protection. I want to differentiate something. A program like the Index Universal Life, folks, is not about investing. It's not a program where you use it as an investing tool. Yes, there is an investment component. There's a return of your premium growth, but it's not investing. You don't actively and directly invest in the market. It's a savings program, so you could save however you like, monthly or annually. You could put away into this program, and the program itself can grow you money, and that's something that we could discuss in person or through another appointment, because we don't have the time on this program to get into all the details. So I want to just emphasize that it's not an investing tool.
No.
However, if you compare that to other available vehicles out there, financial tools out there, like you mentioned, a 401k, it's pitched as a retirement savings account, right? Or an IRA, which I have through my work, and 401k is through corporate. So you have to balance it out and say, okay, risk and risk mitigation. And life insurance is always been known. I know a lot of people don't like the word life insurance. I don't know what it is. For me, I can understand. I used to hate life insurance, but life insurance has evolved. You know, life insurance has evolved, and really financial savvy people come to understand that life insurance is a must in your portfolio.
Yeah.
And I understand why. Because life insurance is like building a house. When you build a financial house for yourself, you want to have a foundation.
Yep.
And life insurance is your foundation, because whatever happens to your life in terms of risk or health or anything, you have an ability to you have the ability to you have the ability to mitigate and fall back on if you have a foundation
Yeah.
to sit on. So having a financial house with a good, solid life insurance program will help you recover. And that is why many people out there who are in business or go through life with, you know, unexpected events
Yeah.
are always able to recover. It's called being smart with your money.
It is. Yeah.
And really that's what we want to share. And so I encourage you, don't be ignorant to the program. Give yourself the opportunity, guys and folks, to listen, to talk to an agent that can actually explain to you the ins and outs. If an agent can't really explain to you and just really wants you to lock in on program, then go find another agent, okay? Because the information is real. The program is real, and the insurance companies are legitimate. However, I do understand that there are agents out there that are not doing their job correctly. So don't let that discourage you from being responsible and growing the wealth that you deserve. Okay?
So on that topic, because I feel like this is a pretty important topic that you're already on, so we're just gonna ask that question. So how do you find a good agent, and like what does a good program looks like for someone who's looking to building, you know, a legacy, a financial legacy for their families?
First of all, in my experience and what I want to share is that every situation is different. Your financial situation is different. Every agent is obviously looking to benefit for themselves, but a real good
Yes and
agent,
no.
a real good agent though, is looking for a program that fits their customer or their client. So if if an agent isn't trying to understand your situation, then they're not really consulting you. They're just there to push a product to you. So be aware of that. So if a client is not engaged with you to understand your full picture, financial picture, and where you want to go, then that should be a red flag. Okay, this agent is here to push a product onto you. Okay.
So can I ask the next question too? Is because, you know, for some of our viewers who are thinking about this and are contemplating or having questions about this, does every IUL program, are they all the same?
No. So like every financial tools, they are good and a good fit for some, but they're not a good fit for others. So you have to just give yourself the opportunity to learn about the program. And honestly, don't be skeptical. Too many people I hear it says it's a scam. You know, it's not a scam, okay? And I say this with the utmost respect for agents out there, but reality is don't let those bad agents talk to you about something and you just automatically believe it. Because there is a lot of agents that are speaking not the truth about the program.
And some of them may not know enough about the program.
That's right.
Because it's a very complex program. So whatever we're explaining to you is a very basic, in its most basic form, of course.
So not every IUL is the same. So you want to, again, you want to explore. And if a good agent understands their financial literacy, right, and the program, then you know, you get that consulting aspect.
So does every company offer IUL in the same way, or like how would you explain that so our viewers can understand how to shop for it or
You know,
how to look
yeah.
what to
So
look for?
the basis of the IUL, like you shared, is just one of many tools, but the index itself is based on a structure that is very similar across the board. Now, different companies, different carrier offers different programs within the index universal life category. Okay. However, it has really four things, like you mentioned. It has living benefits. It has death benefits. It has tax-free growth, income protection.
Yeah.
So those are the things that it will have.
Yeah.
Now, every program is slightly customized differently.
Yeah.
And inside of the program, you could customize it differently. So it's like kind of like building a customized home and a cookie cut home. Okay, so it's a way of looking at it.
I see it like buying steak. The steak is gonna be different at Kroger, Sam's Club, Costco, or Tom Tom, or if you go to a Whole Foods store. Okay, so yes, they're all steak. They're all from a beef source of whatnot, but the quality is gonna be different. So depend on what your needs are. So for example, in this case, we're talking about building generational wealth and retirement. So what I would look at is how they structure that product for me where I can maximize my return. Now, when they talk about, when we talk about interest rates and cap and all of that, index return and all of that, you know what? Some companies I find has very high floors. So for some of the companies that we work with, we have zero floor or even 0.25 floor. What that means is if the index market goes negative, even 40, negative 40, like in, 2008 where the house market bust. But you gain, you don't lose anything at zero floor, right? And you gain a little bit at 0.25. I have seen some companies that guarantee their customers at 0.75, but then you look at what they're rewarding the customers with, with the index, and I didn't see much growth, even if it promised a lot. So to me, I'm a very basic number girl. So when I look at a structural type of a product like that, I typically look at, what am I getting back at retirement? And I know that there are some online people who talks about fees and stuff. Guys, there's fees with everything. I put my money in the bank, not touching it, and I still get $12 fee if you don't, meet certain requirements. So to me, what you get back is more important than what the overall fees are. And a lot of times these fees are actually not bad, comparable to other programs that we talked about, unless you surrender or you cancel the product. Okay.
There's a lot that's involved, but so we can save the mechanics and the intricacies of the workings of the index universal life for another segment. But give our listener an example of how you can build wealth through the program. Let's just say a lot of our listeners are in the in their 40s. Okay, they're a little settled down. They got kids growing up. Their career is a little bit consistent now. How can someone like that save and build some wealth and build wealth and perhaps have a retirement assurance? And that's really important thing is a lot of times when we don't save, we don't realize that by retirement you're not going to have the money. So you probably hear that people are pitching out there that you need $1 million. At retirement you need $1 million. So let me ask you, that's based on 20 years of living when you retire, after you retire. When you start retiring, they're projecting that you would live 20 years after that. That means you're not working anymore and you're just living your life 20 years after. So if you think about the math, that means you're going to have to pull in about $50,000 a year for an annual income to sustain yourself for 20 years, right? So think about that. If you need $1 million at that age and you're in your 40s and you want to retire at say 67, you need to put away 50,000 every
Per year.
for the next 20 years
Yeah.
to start withdrawing that at zero return, 0% return. Now, if you're more savvy and maybe just save at a program that's smart enough, between 4 or 5%, or 2 to 4 or 5%, you would have to save between 22 to maybe 36,000 a year.
Yeah.
Let me ask you: are you saving that amount on an annual basis right now? And can you do that for the next 20 years in order to get to that? Now, I know many of you guys would say, yeah, I got investment portfolio. I got this, I got that. And you may have that. But there are many downside to that. But if you already have a 401 matching, especially for those that are working corporate,
Yes.
that's great.
Keep
it.
that.
We're not encouraged to say anything bad about any financial investment. But I do encourage you to explore another way. And one of the ways that we see powerful is this index universal life. And like you're about to share with us is
Yeah.
if someone in their 40s could put away $500, okay, a month, they could put it on a monthly basis for X amount of years. So
Yeah.
what are some, you've been doing a lot of different illustrations
Yeah.
for different age group.
Yeah.
So can you share with some of the things that you see what this policy could do?
Let me preface that if we don't start this until 40, it's a little too late. The nice thing about this program is that you can actually, as parents, we can give our children a head start by actually starting with a very small amount, like $100 savings for them a month. Okay, ever since they're born, like maybe within the first year, and you already set them up for life. They can be retiring if you just do that for about 20 to 20 years. You've already set them up for a really nice, hefty retirement. I've done it, and if you can, what's called max funding it, that means instead of spreading those payments for every month for 20 years, what you do is you squeeze it into 5 years, and you just pay it yearly instead of every month. Your growth right there just exponentially grew because they're working it based on compound interest. So when money is upfront, that compound interest is already accumulating and turning already, okay? And especially for kids who have time to leverage, it's crazy. I've done illustrations for kids at 1-year-old, 2-year-olds, or even 10-year-old that they can become like a millionaire by in their 40s. And of course, we don't want to use that as something to let them, get off the hook from working or not, but it's a safeguard. It's like building what Andrew said, building a foundation, building that house for them. So that peace of mind that that whatever happens to you, if God forbids, then your child is taken care of, okay? But for someone who's in their 40s, as you know, with age, it's going to be harder to save. We have a lot of expenses. And so I actually want to go back and encourage this to begin at the very minute. If you don't have parents who know about these programs, young professionals out there, do this right out of university. Start saving $100, $200 here and there every month. It's not that hard.
We'll talk. I want you to share with our listener, but there's different age categories. There's power. There's power in time.
Time, yes.
So the earlier you do this, the better you become. The better your outcome is, and the program works and optimized for you. But let's talk about the 40-year-old, the 40 to 50-year-old. What options do they have? If they haven't been into a program and are now looking at that and go, wow, we can't get there. So what can you do to help those?
So 40-year-old, we can start with 500. And again, this is not to buy insurance. This is a little piece of it will go into protecting you if anything happens to you per se, or if you get sick, you're covered with living benefits with critical illnesses, terminal illnesses, and even chronic illnesses. A lot of term insurance don't offer that. So that's something that I like. But more importantly, if you're saving for retirement, you can start with 500. And when we run you some numbers, of course, it depends on your age, on your health, and all of that. We run some numbers, and so we need to sit down with you so that we can customize it to what your needs are. But you can look at a pretty good savings for your, and it starts with 500 a month. So that's about 6,000 a year. 6,000 a year, okay? And if you're healthy, you can probably get a little bit back. But you know what I also love about the system is it's tax free. Whatever you withdraw on a yearly basis, it's tax free. And you know what? And Andrew said about saving that $1 million, you're draining out your account. What if you live too long? What if you live way beyond the 20 years that you were planning for? When you put your money, that $500 that you put in here, it's gonna, when we run you some numbers, if retirement is what you're looking at, it will guarantee, it will not, of course, not guarantee, but it will show you your income until the day you died. You know when that is? That they insure you for? 120 years old. That's pretty crazy. Because I know that $1 million will not last me till even 100 or even 90 years old, quite
Well,
frankly.
One of the things you brought up is you have to think about how the index universal life truly works. Is when you are putting away the savings to get the death benefit,
Yeah,
you're putting a little to get an amount, a death benefit.
yeah,
But as you gained your cash value, which is your own money, I call it your piggy bank.
yeah,
As you build up that piggy bank to a point in time, you now become self-insured, really.
oh yes,
And your money is growing in it at
Yeah.
compound interest. For those that knows compound interest, it's a powerful way to accumulate wealth. But as you start to retire or want to now take your money out, what the insurance company does with your money is that it loans you back the money. Therefore, that's tax free. But in the same time, your money is still growing.
yeah.
That's why
The
it's
whole amount.
that's why it's
Yeah.
funding you for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Unlike 401k, if you had $1 million, every time you withdraw, that
Subtracted.
supply that value is decreasing.
Yeah.
Not only decreasing because you're withdrawing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also decreasing because it's being applied by the tax rate
yeah,
that you happen to have.
yeah.
So if you had $1 million 401k versus a 500 IUL, the 500 IUL
Will
is
last
still
longer.
a better program because
Yeah.
it keeps growing for you
Yeah.
until you max out. And I know a lot of people say, man, I'm not going to live to 121, but you see, that's the beauty about the program. It extends all the way to 121,
Yeah.
guaranteed to supply you with the income.
Yeah.
Whereas 401, you have to have a certain year. And when people are saying that you need $1 million, they're only projecting a 20-year life after you retire. So, folks, that's one of the things that makes it different. So, if I can recap what you said, is that it's not costing you money. Okay, life insurance is not a cost if you know where you're putting your money into. Index universal life is not like term. Term is similar to like car insurance, very temporary. But an index universal life is something that I call it a savings,
Yeah.
because everything you put in,
You get back.
you get back plus profit, and the more you leave in it, the more it grows.
Profits.
Okay, and an index universal life has what you mentioned earlier is the flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay, you can put in so much now, you can freeze it by pausing your payment, but the beauty there is that your policy is still in effect.
Yeah.
You don't actually lose your policy, even if you pause payment.
Yeah.
After several years of saving, something happens to your life, like being laid off or out of a job.
Yeah.
You can simply call the life insurance and pause your savings, and your policy will continue.
I just want to, I guess, a testimony of one of the case studies that I just did. We were, helping someone with her own IUL policy, and you know what? This person stopped funding for a long time. I'm talking more than 5 years. More than 5
And the
years
policy
of
is still, yeah.
stop funding.
Still coverage.
And there was still coverage. I mean, what life insurance policy does that? But that's the beauty about this, because they really truly planned it against, what life can happen, the flexibility for life.
So that's one way. Now I know we just recently ran a scenario where a graduate out of
Yeah.
school. So if you're a graduate out of school, how could you build generational wealth? Well, a lot of graduates are now living with their parents still,
Yeah.
and so they don't have the overhead costs or the
Yeah.
fixed costs of living that many people that are much older have, and they maybe not married yet or don't have any kids. So I would certainly encourage
Look
you
into
to start thinking of savings. I know people don't think about that when you're at 23, 24, but folks, if you're at that age and a properly structured IUL can give you a guaranteed,
Set you for life.
at a retirement age of 80 to 100 and something thousand dollars a year
At
for the
least.
rest of your life. And you're only saving 5 to 6 years. That's it. If you can put away at least $1,500 to $2,000 a month for 5 years, we ran a program that if you just did that for 5 years, so a total investment of a total savings of under 100,000 in 5 years, okay, you can give yourself an assurance that you will have about 100,000
Yeah.
of income at 67, 60, 66, 67 years old for the rest of your life.
For more than 40 years.
Yeah.
So by the time, if the Lord blesses you and you live more, even to 90 years old, you've already withdrawn over millions of dollars already.
Yeah, and
At that
when you
point.
look at how much you save
Yeah.
versus how much you gain, that's
Yeah.
an amazing program.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
you don't have to think about this. That's beautiful part is it's made for ordinary people.
Yeah.
We're not talking about savvy people in
Stocks.
stocks and all that. Yes, you can go ahead and do that too. You can do real estate. You can do all that. I encourage you to explore different things. But one of the foundational tools that you should have in your financial house is a solid life insurance program, one that is building you wealth. And if you're that young and graduated with a decent job, I encourage you to think about paying yourself first.
Yeah. There's the pyramid of building wealth, and investment was at the tip of it. That means that we have to build what's under here first, getting rid of all of our debts, building, what security we have, protecting what we have first before we invest. And I want to encourage, because I know a lot of our young people jump right into investment. And you have to think about those investment dollars. Those are money that you're okay to lose. If you're okay with losing $1,000-$2,000 a month, then go for it. Okay? But if you want to protect that first, then think of this program that we were talking about, because it has so much value for you, long term, short term. Again, not too short, because in any even with 401k, if you withdraw before a time, there's going to be penalties and all that. But with an IUL, I see so many different perks with it. And sometimes for me too, at the beginning when I first get to know the program, it seemed too good to be true. And a lot of times I feel that a lot of people question because it's too good to be true. After researching, after understanding why such program exists, and I see that it's actually not too good to be true. It's just a vehicle that the government allows us to take care of ourselves. Because how else are we going to be taking care of our retirement? They're not going to take care of us for us. We know that our government is running out of money. I've heard about Social Security going away for years now. So it's just, that clock is just ticking.
Before we kind of wrap it up, I want to give our listener one more tip. Okay. And so we talked about what a 4-year-old can do, right? You put in $500 a month for 15, 20 years, you get your money back.
40 years old.
A 40-year-old.
Okay, yeah.
You put your money in $500 a month for say 15, 20 years. You can get your money back plus profit. And at the same time, if something ever happened to you throughout those 15, 20 years, you have about $500,000, $600,000 death benefit that your beneficiary will inherit, right? But if nothing happens to you, you can pull out your money with your principals and profit. But if you keep it in there and extend it to 100 years or more years down the road, you're building wealth. and it could lead to a few $1 million in wealth that you can now give it back to your great grandkids or grandkids or
Yeah.
whatever it is that you will. And you
Yeah.
will. You can roll it into a living trust,
Mhm.
or you can have an income around $35 to $60,000, and that's just based on $500 a month for 15 to 20 years. So you see, a little bit of savings, it can build a lot. Okay, but then if you're a young graduate, just a few years of investing in this program
Saving.
or savings in this program, we call it, you can secure your future.
Yeah.
But one more program that is very intriguing is what we coined it is the millionaire babies.
Dollar baby.
Yeah, $1 million babies. So what does that mean? It means that when you start them young, your children,
Yeah.
just a few $100, $100 to $150,
Mhm.
you can build your children up to become future millionaires.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's only within 20 years or 30 years of putting away a very little amount.
Mhm.
Your children
Are set.
will be assured
Yeah.
to become millionaires through this program.
Yeah.
Like all programs, there are things that I encourage you to understand. So please contact us or contact an agent within IAA, that's the program. Or if there's anybody who approaches you and talk about that, do sit down with them because it's a great program. Don't just say, I don't need it.
Mhm.
Because folks, I always say this, if you are protecting yourself,
Mhm.
then you're exposing yourself to risk.
Mhm.
And I always refer to this, in life, we like to attack.
Mhm.
But if you don't defend before you attack, you're going to be in trouble. Okay?
And
So-
I do want to, that's the question that I asked Andrew earlier. I do want to also, open your mind to the idea of, okay, if you've heard it once, hear it again. Because it's going to be very overwhelming from one person or even from 2, 3 different sessions of it. So if there are people from different companies that are approaching you, don't close yourself off from listening to what other good programs other people have out there, because like I said, not like we've already said, not every company structures it the same way, and not every IUL policy looks the exact same way because that's just how it works.
So, I know time is about to end here for this segment, but I just want to wrap up again. My wife and I, we have a Wise Gen Financial part of this whole program. It's not about pushing one certain product. We really get into this because we care. We care, first of all, it's an understanding for us. It's an opportunity for us to really learn about financial wisdom or financial literacy. And I know you have a seminar with some of the youth at our church
Yeah.
to talk about that. And one of the questions that you polled them is, what is it that they are most concerned with? So the youth today are saying that they're concerned, they want to know more about how to build wealth. And it's a great answer.
Mhm.
And so I look forward to that seminar that you're going to be conducting, and we'd love to go out there and share with any church or any function, and kind of just share from a family to a family. We're certainly not expert in the financial field, but one of the things I learn is that when you don't know something, go
Learn.
into it and learn.
Yeah.
And so I encourage you out there that if you're not learning something, then you're just going to be ignorant about it. So ignorant is a choice. Today we have technology, we have opportunities. So please open your mind to learning. And the best way to learn is actually go right into it. I remember years ago, I took a license. I passed a license and took a license on health insurance. Even though I didn't sell any life insurance, but by doing that, it exposed me to what life insurance is all about. And I really understand it. And why it was important at that time was because my company was looking for health insurance plans. And I was so confused about it. There's so much about life insurance plan, but I went into it to understand. And just like we are doing today as a couple, we go into life insurance. And because we want to understand, and man, it opened our eyes, and I would just say, I wish I had done this. I wish I had known this, because we can't buy back time.
No.
One of the things we can't do is buy back time. And so I want to lay this on your heart because it's important. Don't let time go to waste, okay? Time is a very precious commodity, okay? use it wisely because money growth is based on time.
Time. Yeah.
Okay? Not only building up wealth, but then having the money to help you spend the rest of your life pursuing something that is happy and being joyful. Because that's really what we want you to do. Okay? As a couple, we want you to have happiness in your life, to have peace in your life. And I know that we are always locked up with going to work. I know the greatest complaint many people have is, man, I wish I could do this, but I got to work. Bills are coming at me. And that's the problem why many of us are still working. So don't get caught in that hamster wheel of always running around and around and you don't have anything left to do and to save. So I hope you enjoy what we share. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment, send us an email. We're here to help you. We're here to share with you what we've learned. And we're just ordinary family. You know, I'm an engineer and you're a teacher. But, you know, we face the same challenge everyone, how to help ourselves. And we have 4 kids that we're raising. So, folks, there's nothing that separates me and you, okay, except for us and you. So, don't feel disengaged. You know, share with us, come to us, and we'll find you something. Or one of the things I like is that yesterday we have a team. We have a team of really financial savvy people that will work with us to find the right program for that client. And you were working with a bunch of sisters in our IA. So yes, you know, we have a team that can help you. So don't just think that, hey, you know, we can't help you. If we can't help you, we'll find somebody to help you. So
There's just about 800 plus of us.
yeah, there's a lot. And you know, I always say we're not lone wolves. I know there's a lot of great companies out there, a lot of great agents, a lot of great financial savvy people that we become friends. And why is finance so important? It is the tool and the language of economics. If you don't have money, you're not going to get anywhere today. It's the fact of life. But it's up to you to be steward of the resources that God has blessed you with. God blesses with money, but how we use money is a sign that He judges us. So I encourage you to think about what you're going to do with your time and what you're going to do with money. So thank you so much for following us today and listening to us. Before we end, we're going to dip into our promise bucket here and see what God's promising us today. So you got your promise?
Yes, I did. My promise today is in Hebrews 13:6. It says, "So we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear. What can man do to me?" Thank you so much for this promise because, you know, as we face every single new day, there are new challenges that we face. And sometimes that gives us anxiety. And I'm sure I'm speaking for a lot of people out there. So this is your promise today. If the Lord is with you, then what can man do to you? Okay, and so thank you.
All right, my promise comes from Psalms 119, verse 92, the New King James Version. "Unless your law has been my delight, I would then have perished in my affliction." Wow. You know, God sets out laws to expose us of our sin. And when we know where our limitations are, we know and can receive His grace. And truly, our God is a God of love. And He does everything out of love for us. And that's one thing that we bask not only in His glory, but He's poured His love upon us. And Christians who are walking with that are always joyful, despite what is attacking us each day. Because we are living in a fallen world, right? We live in a fallen world. Satan is here to kill us, steal from us, and does everything to us. He robs us, and so it's very warming and touching to know that God is always thinking what is right for us. So.
And He's there to protect us always.
Yeah, He's always there. So let me close us out in prayer. So Father, we just thank you for this time, Father. Thank you for your love and teaching us and revealing to us what love is. And Father, you are a Father of love. Love is in you, Father, and you made us because you want to love us. So thank you for that, Father. I ask that you help us know and how to better manage our finance, Father, how to be better steward of the money that you have blessed us with, how to put it in places that grows. Father, you have demonstrated many times that with little you can make lots of great things, and we can give you little, you will multiply that blessing among our lives. Father, so we look forward to be in obedience to that, and help us learn ways that we can work together, help us ways that we can better invest or save, Father. Father, I know that's as we prepare for a new year, the new lunar year, that many of us, Father, that may this year bring us prosperity, but more importantly, Father, it is time that we could spend with you, Father. May you help us not be toiled and be bonded to our work, but to utilize wisdom that you granted to us, so that we can free up our time to be in the Word, to fellowship with you, and to be with our brothers and sisters, so that we can share and testify what you have done in our lives. Father, we thank you for who you are, and I lift this prayer into your name, into your Son's hands. In Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, everyone, for watching, and hope you guys watch us on the next segment. Have a very blessed day, guys. Bye-bye.